Those of you that have been watching the previous videos will know that I suspected very strongly that the UK was going to go into a second COVID lockdown within a matter of weeks. I've been saying it on video for a couple of months, and I've been buying all of the parts that this car I thought could possibly need, that I would actually use during any unexpected sort of time off work or business. My fears have come true here in the UK. Many places in Europe are already in COVID lockdown. The US is not at the moment, but they're more interested. They're rather distracted with the shenanigans of the presidential election. But here in the UK, it's November. This is November the 5th, and we've been closed down for 28 days to begin with. I have a business, so the business is closed. I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the car. I'm not feeling my best, obviously. You know, I do have a business, and that business is now closed, and up until this point we've been offered zero in the way of compensation. I'm sure something might come through, but it'll be absolutely nothing that will come even close to covering the lost revenue and turnover. But nonetheless, we are where we are, and I have a massive amount to do to this car. As you can see, it's up on ramps at the front, and I've managed to put it on axle stands. You can see the axle stands at the back here. Plus, I've bashed it in with a mallet there, a brick underneath the tyre, and a pack of wood that side. Yeah, the car's pretty stable. It needs a huge amount. I'm going to give it yet another oil change. So obviously let's crawl under here. We haven't got any light, but it doesn't matter. I'll film this. Got the oil drain plug just here. I'm going to be removing the transmission pan. Let me just get my let me just pause the camera. I do have an LED camera, an LED light. Let me just pause the camera, and I'll get the LED light. Okay, here we go. We've got a little bit of light at least. I'm going to be. There's a lot of oil down here. I suspect this gasket to be failed, but that's 30 odd years old. I have a brand new gasket, so I'm going to be removing the oil pan. That's not the oil pan, that's the transmission pan. So I've had the oil for a while, so I will drain that. I'll clean this pan, change this gasket. I have a brand new filter to go inside. I'll drain the sump. We're under here somewhere, can't really reach. There it is, that black thing there. That's the oil filter, a brand new oil filter. That's already been changed twice in the few months I've owned the car, and this is the third change coming up. And let's just crawl around the back. And this is a job that definitely needs doing. I don't know when it was last done with. Let's have a look. I've certainly not done it. Underneath here, in the final drive, I'm going to be removing this plug here, but I'm actually going to take this plate off, and I'm going to clean that and paint it, and I'm going to drain the final drive. It's a bit awkward to get the oil back in, but when I take this plate off here, I'm actually going to remove this plate as well. There's about a dozen bolts inside there, and open up and clean out the final drive, the differential casing. I'm going to use new gasket and then put new fluid in there, new oil. And I'm also going to be inserting a gasket conditioner. Now, this is going to have a brand new gasket just here, but there are seals and gaskets in there and under here, and now honestly truly they are a complete bastard to change. You really do not want this. A complete suspension out and dismantling job. It's a truly colossal job. And what else? Yeah, I want those seals to be conditioned rather than replaced. Now in here somewhere there's a universal joint. I'll grease that. There's another one here, I'll grease that. Same the other side. There's a universal joint, at least one, probably two on the prop shaft. But I'll film everything, you know, individually. Let me just turn the light off now and crawl out. Oh, you devil! Gosh, hard work this. Now, what else? What else? I'm taking the cam covers off. They're going to be stripped and painted. I don't know about these dome locks, so I'm hoping I'll be able to polish those up because I haven't bought any new ones. But I've brought brand new gaskets. There's a rubber D-washer in there. It's been leaking slightly. I've changed all the hoses already. This needs to come off. That's a breather. I'll explain what that is in a separate video, but that's filthy inside. I'll be changing. Let's pop the light back on. Here we go. I'll take these nuts off here remove that breather casing and paint it. New gaskets, there's a filter in there. This is the thermostat housing. I'll be painting that. I'll remove it, new gaskets, new thermostat. Now then, this is going to be a big job. I'm going to be removing the whole fuel rail, all of the injectors, of the fuel pressure sensor, everything. I'm going to pull the whole lot up. I have to remove the LPG injection. All of this should be shiny, so I'll polish this. But the hoses are completely original. All of these hoses are from 1984. So I'm going to be replacing all of the hoses. It's only a matter of time before I get a crack and one of those splits and throws petrol all over the hot engine. So I do have, if I can strip it down enough, here's the inlet manifold down here. I have a brand new inlet manifold gasket. All of this is coming out. The air induction intake, you know, this will all get stripped, painted, and this will all get clean and polished. This will get painted. I'll clean everything, clean inside the I forget what this is called now. It's the control, the airflow meter, that's what it's called. So I'll clean all that. It'll be all full of gunge. When we remove this, there's a butterfly in there. That'll all be full of dirt. I'll clean all of that. And if I can have the time and I've stripped it down enough, I will remove the inlet manifold, which you can't really see, but it's this black thing here. It's that sort of shape. It's quite long. I do have a brand new gasket, and I would take that off at the moment just to paint it. I don't think it leaks, but obviously if it comes off, it's got to have a new gasket. What else? You know, it's completely filthy. Look at this grease. I've not even washed it. I just wanted to do all of these works before I come to detailing it. The hoses are new here. I'll be taking the fluid out of the power steering there, replacing that. These are total rubbish. The HT leads, I have brand new, really thick 10mm racing leads. I have brand new spark plugs. I've got a new distributor cap, which is down here. I've got all of this. These are quite delicate. Let's just zoom in. You can see all the cracking on this hose here. It's just a vacuum hose, and there's a couple of 3 meters of vacuum hosing. I'm going to be replacing all of that hosing. This has already been replaced. That's a brand new coil. This is the I've got a new one of these. It's a temperature sensor. It senses the water in the engine, whether it's hot or cold. It gives the signal to the ECU, which is buried behind the door in the footwell. So obviously if the engine's hot, that sends a signal, you know, for the correct fuel mixture. If that goes wrong, it's about £7. If that goes wrong, the car won't start hot. I won't be replacing this. I don't have a spare one. That's called, bear with me, it's a thermotime switch. What this thermotime switch does, it's once again, it senses whether the engine's hot or cold, and if the engine's cold, it gives extra fuel for up to 8 seconds into the inlet rail, or if it's slightly warm, it'll cut it down to perhaps 3 seconds or even 1 second. But they're about £300 to replace, so I'm not going to be replacing that. I've forgotten what that is. I do know, and I've forgotten, but I don't have a new one. But I'll be testing it. And here's some more. You can't really see it, but I've got my hand on it. It's more vacuum hose. That goes to the heater. I have plenty of hose. I've got more belts, so I'll be changing the belts yet again. I've never been happy with the belt setup on the car. I've changed them a couple of times, but I have more brand new ones. And there is a I'll take this off here, this covering, because it's completely filthy, and that will get painted. And there are some coolant pipes behind here which are a bit rusty. Where's my hand? There it is. There's some coolant piping. I'll be replacing that with copper, and to prevent any rust in the future. Is the other side to that pipe. So I'll just change it with copper. This will come off to get painted. What else? Oh yes, I'll be removing this cover because I've got to take off the manifold. The manifold's cracked. I've got a replacement. I'm struggling to think of anything else. Obviously it's having an oil change. This is the transmission. I'll be changing the transmission fluid. Oh yes, the washer has never worked. This, I don't know whether it's that's the wrong washer sprayer, the jet, it's the pump or whatever it's called. Yeah, the pump. I've got a brand new pump, so I'll be changing that pump. I've got to find a plastic cap for here. I don't have one of those. I forgot that. I have a brand new sensor. It goes on the radiator. No, it doesn't go on the radiator. Yes, it does. There's a fan. There's a secondary fan. That one's driven by the engine. There is another fan somewhere. It's in here. It's an electric fan. That's thermostatic controlled. I've got a new thermostat to go on there. That one, normally, say if you're sitting in traffic with the engine running, and you haven't got the cold air flowing through the engine, that fan would kick in at that point. I've got a brand new thermostat, so that's a Lucas Bot. I'll be fitting that. Gosh, I'm struggling to remember what else. New wiper blades. I'm really struggling to remember, but this is to give you a sense of what I'm going to be doing in these coming weeks whilst my business is closed. So I'm bound to have missed an awful lot. There is a huge amount, and I have all of those parts. I discovered something this morning when I was jacking it up. I could smell petrol, and I found a very minor leak. Let's just zoom in. This is under the rear wing. This is the mud flap just here. I don't know if you can. I can't really get the camera in. It's too big. Yes, you can see a dark patch just here. It's seeping fuel. I can smell it. It's definitely petrol. Now, this round thing here. There's a gasket behind there, and that's the this is the fuel pipe. I'll probably replace that because it looks a bit rusty to me. I'm pretty sure I'll replace all of that, but I'll probably do it with copper. But it's leaking. I can't work out where it's leaking from. But I don't have any gaskets. So there are 4 or 5 screws there. You have to drain the tank. There's a plug just there. You have to let the petrol out, and then you can remove the sender. But I don't have a gasket. But it'll be a couple of pounds for a gasket. But there's definitely a very minor fuel leak, and I'm just smelling it. It's working its way. Can't really see. Let me just take the light off. Let me put the light inside. This might help. Yeah, that helps. You see, it's very wet, and I don't know. I think it's coming from around here. Can't really tell because I need to get the wheel off. This is the wheel. I need to get the wheel off, get my head in. I think it's coming from up here, and it seems to be dribbling down there. I can't tell, but we've definitely got a problem. It's not catastrophic at this stage, but it's far from good having a fuel leak on a car. We've got the exhaust down here, so that will get dealt with. Gosh, there's so much to do. Yes, the sunroof doesn't work. I can hear it clicking. There's a solenoid under here. There's a solenoid under here somewhere, and I can hear it clicking. But the motor for the sunroof is underneath the back seat. And for whatever reason, this door doesn't open either. The central locking doesn't work on this door. So there's so many things for me to fiddle about with. But I'll try and get that sunroof going. I'm not sure whether it's the motor, which is behind the seat. You have to take the seat out, and it's buried down there somewhere. But as you can see, there's a massive amount to do, and it'll probably keep me completely occupied for the next 28 days. If indeed it is only 28 days the business is closed for, I suspect very strongly that it's going to be closed for much longer. Under the last lockdown, we were told 21 days. 3 weeks. It ended up 14 weeks. We've been told 28 days, 4 weeks this time. But I am very suspicious that we're not going to get reopened, which is complete agony. I own the business. I'm not furloughed. I don't get paid, but I'm still liable for the bills, which is nothing short of a nightmare, really. But there's thousands and millions of us in this position. So this car will keep me sane in these coming weeks when I'm sort of sitting idle. Because of the last lockdown, I completely fixed the business premises. So I'll film everything for you, and the pure filth under here, look at this, it's absolutely filthy. I've never bothered to clean it because I knew that I was going to be stripping it, and I'll clean every component as I put it all back, so it will look gorgeous. But it's a shame that it's sort of come to this, that my business has actually been pushed into a forced closure through COVID before I'm in a position to do the car. But we are where we are, so we're coming perilously close to 15 minutes now, and these Instagram videos are a maximum of 15 minutes. So let me cut this one off here, and I will film each and every stage and let you know what I'm doing with it.